Hello! Today I'm going to show you how to make this simple little chair, which I'm using in my doll's house kitchen along with the desk. I've made a little cushion to go with my chair, and I'm going to be making a crocheted throw to drape over the back. So that's why I've done quite a simple back on here. But in the tutorial I'll give you some other ideas of what you can do with this back part if you're not going to be using a crocheted throw over the top and wanted something a little bit more fancy there. The cutting list for the chair is in the description box below, and coming up next is a list of all the tools and materials you'll need, and then we'll get started. Because there's a lot of similar sized pieces with this project, you can either write on them just lightly using pencil, or as I have done here, you can just sort of lay them out in this order so you remember which bit is which. So I've got my back and front legs here. This is the sort of support section underneath the chair. They're the side supports, and then I've got the four sort of front and back supports, so 3 at the back, and that will go along the front, and they're slightly longer than these side ones. And there's obviously my seat. The back panel I shall be cutting once I've started constructing the back piece, because I'm not sure what size I want it yet, so that's why it's not there yet, but you'll see it in the cutting list and everything once I've completed the project. Okay, so we're going to start with our back legs, so bring those onto your work surface. Okay, so turn them lengthways like that, and we're going to start by making pencil marks, 8mm. This is from what will become the top edge. So first pencil mark 8mm, 35.5mm, 50mm, and 71mm from what will become the top. So I'll give you those again: 8, 35.5, 50 and 71. And in inches that's 5/16, 1 25/64, 1 31/32, and 2 51/64 of an inch. So do that on both legs, and use your rule rather than the piece you've just marked up, and you'll get a more accurate mark. Okay, so now take 2 of your back supports, and that's the shorter of these 3x6 pieces, and we just want to make a little line in the centre of each piece. Line down the centre there. Same on the other piece. Like that. And then bring in your back panel and also do a little line in the centre at the top and bottom of that. And the longest edge runs in direction of the grain, so that's the edge you should be marking up. Like that. So we now start construction. So take your first marked up back support, apply a little bit of glue on both ends, and then lay that against the leg so it sits just above that top pencil line. Press it into place, and then bring in your back panel and apply glue along the top and bottom. Now I'm using this rather plain back panel because I'm going to be making a crocheted throw to hang over the back of the chair, so I didn't want to put too much detail into the back because it won't be seen. But if you don't want to use this panel, you might want to use some rungs, so you could cut 3 rungs of the same length from the 3x3 or the 1/8 of an inch strip, and you could place those evenly along there. So what you do in this little area at the back there is up to you. You might want to use this panel but perhaps score some grooves into it. That looks quite nice. if you're using the back panel, attach it now so it's attached to that top rung and so that the pencil lines are lined up there. Press that into place. And then bring in your second marked up rung, and again apply glue to each end. And then that will sit above that next pencil line, and again so that your central lines are lined up. Press that all together. Slide that along your worktop if it's sort of becoming stuck to the worktop rather than trying to pick it up, like that. And bring in your next back support, and this is the third of those 4 pieces that are the same size. Again, apply glue to both ends. And that will sit above the next pencil line down. If that's taken you a little longer than you thought, you may need to apply a little bit more glue to these ends, which I'm going to do now. So just turn that onto its side. Lay that back down and attach the other leg, making sure those pencil lines are in the right places. Carefully press it all together. Press it all down against your work surface as well. Make sure it's all flat. Like that. And then bring in those 2 side supports, and this is the longer pieces from the 3x6 strip. And these are going to sit on each leg so it's level with this support at the back. So apply glue just to one end. Just press that to the leg, making sure that it's level with the support already in place. Keep it as upright as you can. Same with the other one. And whilst that dries, we'll construct the front leg section. So bring in your remaining support and the 2 front legs. And we're just going to glue the support at the top between the legs there. So apply glue to each end of the support. And you want it to be flush along that top. So bring in the remaining loose pieces there. And we're going to make a pencil mark in the centre of both long pieces. So turn those around like that. Just make a little mark across the centre there. Same with that one. I'm then going to glue the shorter support between the 2 so it sits centrally between them. A little bit of glue at each end. Press that against the first one. I'm just doing that by eye. Oops. And then bring the other one in. Again, so that the central one is sitting centrally over the little pencil mark. Press it all together. Carefully push that along and just leave that to dry. Bring in the front leg section and check which is the nicest edge, and then the one that you don't want showing, turn it over, and we're going to make pencil marks 8.5mm, and let me just get you that measurement in inches. That's 21/64 of an inch from the bottom of the leg. And this is on the inside of the chair, the bit that will sit on the inside. like that. And I just want to let that piece dry off a little bit more before we try and attach it, as I'm worried it might just fall apart. Okay, so just now apply a tiny little blob of glue above each of those pencil lines on the back leg there. And then bring in this support piece very carefully, and so that the side supports sit just above the pencil line on the leg. So get one into place first and then manoeuvre the other one into place. You may need to just very carefully squeeze them inwards as well, so that they're actually sitting on the back leg. I've just knocked that completely out of place. So they're sitting just above the pencil line. Press them both down. And I probably could have let that dry off even longer so it's a little bit more sturdy. Like that. Just want to get rid of that glue. Once again, I'm going to let that just dry off for a moment. So with your front legs laying so that you can see the pencil marks you've made on this side, apply glue to the end of these supports. And I just left that dry in probably for about a couple of minutes, just so it's sturdy enough that you can handle it without it all falling apart. And now we're going to position this so that these thicker rungs are sitting flush at the top of the legs, and so that these bottom ones are sitting above the pencil lines. So you'd want to get your top rungs in place first. Over there as well. You may need to just push it in a little bit. When it's not attached to anything, it will try to flare outwards. And then you can bring these bottom ones into position above those pencil lines. Again, you may just need to push them in a little bit, just gently manoeuvre it to get it all to square off, and then press it all down as well. Make sure you've got a nice flush top bit for where we want to attach our seat. I just let go of that if I can. I don't think I can because it's going to tip up. I just want to remove that glue down there to make sure that I'm just above that pencil line. I think I am because I just can't quite see it. Move that in a little bit. Just keep checking and manoeuvring before the glue has set too much. Push that in again. And then press down in those 4 points. Again, just really gently, because I've done this before and then the whole thing just collapses. So once you think you've sort of pressed for long enough and that's sturdy enough to stand up, bring it upright. I just need to press that one down a little bit more, just really carefully again. And I'm now going to leave that to dry off probably for a good hour or so. I've got some painting to do, so I'll go and do that. Once that's completely dry, I'll sand away all of the pencil marks and then fit the seat. So that's been drying now probably for about an hour, and I'm now going to use a medium grade sandpaper to remove the pencil marks. So when you're removing them, lay the piece down to give it a bit of extra support rather than holding it in your hand and working on it. To get to those pencil marks in the centre there, just roll your piece of sandpaper up and just work it really gently, supporting the piece with your fingers. Once you've removed all of the pencil marks, I just like to round over the top of these back legs. So just sweep the sandpaper from front to back and back to front. And then you can go over from side to side as well. Just round off all of those straight edges. Just gives for a neater finish. And then bring in your seat part and lay it evenly across the seat there, like that. And there'll just be a little bit of an overhang at each side. So place it so there's the same amount overhanging at each side, and it's going to be less than 1/2 millimetre at each side, and then just make a little pencil mark to the inside edge of the leg. Like that. Not sure if you can see those marks there, but this is just to cut out a square at the back of the seat. And then use your ruler to make the measurement along the edge of the seat. And that should be at 3 millimetres again, the same thickness as the back leg, 3 millimetres or 1/8 of an inch. Little line at each side. And bring in your craft knife. So begin by making the cut against the direction of the grain, so coming from sort of back to front of the seat. And then turn it and snip away in the direction of the grain. Do that at both corners. And then try your seat into place. So you should have a nice flush line along the back there, and then an even overhang around the edges and at the front. If it's a little bit tight going in, you might need to just cut a little bit more from the corner, so just do a little bit at a time and then try it again. And then I just like to round over the top edges of the seat before I attach it. So again, using your medium grade sandpaper, just sweep along each edge, holding the paper at a 45-degree angle. Just round it off. Again, just to make for a more finished appearance. Just along the front and the two sides. And then you can just round that corner off a little bit as well. Now if you want to do your seat in the two-tone, the cream and dark wood, as I've done for some of the other projects in the kitchen, then leave these two pieces separately and you can now paint your chair and varnish or use wood dye on the seat. But I'm actually going to do mine all in the dark wood just to make a bit of a contrast over in that corner of the kitchen. So I'm going to attach the seat. So just apply a little bit of glue around the seat sides, along the front as well, and then just get a little bit into that back support as well, and then attach the seat, press it into place against the supports. Don't press against any of the bottom parts of the chair as you're likely to break it. Glue on there I want to get rid of. I'm going to go round and sand this again, especially along anywhere that I've glued, just so that the wood dye will take and not leave patches. Remove the excess glue, and then I just want to secure that seat using clamps, and I'm using these that have got a thinner grip just because then I can get it into the back there underneath that back support. So put one at each edge, and these are called spring clamps, and these are also available in my Etsy shop if you don't have any and would like some, and that can then be left to dry. Okay, the glue has now completely dried, so I've given that another sand all over, paying particular attention along any joins where glue may have seeped onto the wood. And now I'm going to apply my wood dye, and as with the other pieces in my kitchen, I'm going to apply 2 coats of light oak followed by a coat of dark oak, which I wipe away before it has a chance to soak too much into the wood, as I don't want it to be too dark. And when you're using this, just remember, give it a really good shake before you start so that you get the true colour, otherwise the sediment will just sit at the bottom and it will look wishy-washy. So after 2 coats of my light oak wood dye, I could still see some of the glue residue around the joins at the sides, so I sanded that right back and then applied my top coat and removed it with kitchen towel almost straight away, and I really like the finish of that now. I am just going to add a coat of clear wax, and this is clear shoe polish. And this just really adds a nice rich finish to the wood dye. If you were using varnish you wouldn't need to do this, but because this wood dye is incredibly matte, it's just nice to add a coat of clear wax, and it really brings out the wood grain as well, even when you're using this soft wood. So just apply that with small circular motions. And that's really soaking into the wood there. And then when you've applied one coat, you can just get a clean piece of kitchen towel and just buff over that. I've also made just a simple little cushion from my oatmeal herringbone fabric, and I do it so that the seam is underneath rather than along one of these seams, and that keeps it squarer. And that will sit on there. And I'm going to make a crocheted throw to sit over the back in the wine colour to match the checked fabric in my kitchen. I really hope you've enjoyed this project. If so, please do give the video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel, as there's lots more to come. And if you enjoy making your own doll's house furniture and miniatures, you might like my books. I've published 5 of them so far, and they're all available to purchase from Amazon. You can also find them in my Etsy shop. And for now, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.